Hello there. How you doing? It's me. It's what should we get into? Let's get into AI. I watched a couple of videos and I was interested in discussing this once again. And we'll come from the angle of the three most difficult types of people to have a conversation with. It's going to be weird coming from me. It's gonna sound weird. It comes from health conscious people, especially vegan, potheads, hippies, and then finally the type of people that are so anti technology, they don't even understand the place that it holds. This is going to be another talk on tools and technology, and when do we like it and when don't we? And I think the reason it's difficult for potheads to have a conversation is because they have their brain is all fried, and they can, you can't talk to them about smoking weed because they think it's God's great gift to the earth and that's all they need to do, as if they're not addicted if they're not potheads. It's completely moronic. Like they know anything about the science because they can't be objective about anything. So you got those pothead goofs that you can't talk to about just about anything. They go off on tangents like they know something. Like, yeah, bro. And then you got the vegans that I think their brain is probably they're obviously malnutrition for the most part. And both of them weave into this. People that want to be crispy, crunchy, go back to the earth, you got to go hug a tree, get off the grid, all this. This is something I've talked about plenty of times. Coming from a long-haired, freakish hippie that teaches about fasting, about Shivambu, about a vegetarian diet. I talk about all this. Oh, I've been in the game for a very long time. But when you try to explain to them about tools, technology, computers, and artificial intelligence. Yeah. How in denial potheads are. Oh, it's outlandish. Like they trick themselves. Like even when I was younger and the whole campaign of dare and even pot then was, as far as me, I've done plenty of different substances, probably everything that you could think of. And the most difficult thing for me to stop doing by far was weed. It's not even close. There's not even a close second. Even chemicals to even all the things you think are, it was weed by far. And that was then. And so I tried to have this conversation with somebody. I was like, the weed in the 70s is not the weed that we're smoking now. And this person goes, well, you should get to know weed. You obviously are not. You don't know anything about this subject. So I go to their page, and what is their page? Them selling weed. Like every picture of them is smoking a blunt. You could tell they were just zooted out of their fucking mind. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, you must have no clue at all to who the fuck you're talking to. Which they obviously didn't, which is fine. Even if they did, they probably want to disagree with me because their brain doesn't work at a very high capacity, high clip rate. And I'm like, my best friend that I talked to for many years, he went to literal weed college. I've studied plenty of chemistry. I've understood the simple thing about you could look it up right now. Go look up the THC levels of weed in the 70s and then now. And if the first thing and every page you go across that there isn't a wild difference in not only the types of, by hybridization, by other things they've done, the whole every bud now is like straight THC crystal laced nonsense. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And it's like, how do these people even? So that's the beginning of the conversation, is explaining to me that I don't know what I'm talking about, when literally you can find that information anywhere, and you go look at a High Times magazine from the 70s or 80s. Go look at what the buds look like. It was somewhere between 3.5% and 7% THC, and now it's somewhere up in the 20s to 30s. Don't argue. You're gonna argue with me when I'm showing you. But you can't prove shit to people. Okay, so yeah, potheads, and obviously I've gone in on these vegans and their malnutrition of their system and their brain. But as a totality, trying to even a normal person has a little bit of a dilemma with technology, tools, and technology. Where do they where do they draw the line? You know, I was listening to somebody talk about how there's these new programs which allow computers to use a type of artificial intelligence, um, and there was using some other things that like eh, how the advantages and disadvantages of technology, high technology, which gets into AI. And I was reading an article on the top 10 things that you'd consider benefits and the top 10 things you would say, the pros and cons, the advantages and disadvantages. And when I was reading the disadvantages, even the person writing the article, I don't think could understand clearly enough how what they called a disadvantage was an advantage. One of the major things about the major thing that I became heightenedly aware of was that every article I'd read is it always said that it would cause unemployment. Yeah, people that do dabs, they're not addicted. Exactly, Carson. Yeah, the cannabinoid system. Yeah, you also have you have nicotine receptors in your brain, so maybe you should start smoking cigarettes, right? Same logic would prevail, huh? Okay? So the major thing is unemployment. That was one of the major disadvantages. But I'm like, isn't that an advantage? Humans are not supposed to be working. They say that people will get lazy. This is number two. I'm like, no, people don't get lazy. They actually, it, your intentions of life change. If you didn't have a job, you'd be less lazy. How many people have a job that are lazy slobs? What are most jobs these days? Standing there, checking somebody out in the aisle, sitting down at a desk. What jobs are not desk jobs? The amount of people. Okay, and let's go to the other jobs. The other ones where people are working physically hard and doing a bunch of things could be dangerous, and a lot of them quite literally are. But if we just use, say, a tool or technology, they would be happily unemployed. Who wants to be roofing in the summer? You know how many injuries happen on job sites? You want should we be mining? I don't know. Well, anything, whether it's cobalt or mercury or um, you know dinosaur dinosaur fluid, whatever you think it is. There's always dangers here. But if we let robots do these things, we would robots and artificial technology. What do you need their jobs for? What do we need jobs for? Another thing they said that was a problem: the cost. There's no, people get this through your head. Money and cost don't exist in the real world. All it takes is the people putting things together, the energy and time and whatever. Like once we've already done that, we already have the first computer chip made. We did, and then we designed computers to make the computer chips. That's what engineers do. Engineers will spend 9 hours if it takes them from having to do a 10-hour job. That they'll spend designing another system to do the task for them. They'll save an hour. An engineer always saves time. Anyone in their right mind would do that. So we wouldn't become more lazy. We would open up our time to do other things, and we would be involved in things of the creative ways, because AI so far we've pretty much said that it can't be very much creative. So we can still maintain our creativity and in fact advance that. People would be more involved in, I don't know, life with other people, like how we should be, a little more tribal. You would spend more of your time in the arts, studying sciences, philosophy, music, dance. Doesn't this all sound a little better when tools that we've used? At what point are these tools no good? At what point are these technologies no good? No one would ever build a system without a stop loss. No one would ever build a system that was going to like take over the world like all the crazy movies you watch. Who would do that? There's always a way to unplug it. No, you'd be out of your mind to build a system, and then you have a team of engineers that are helping you build the system. And they're like, hey, whenever we build this here, if anything starts to go wrong, we need to have the button to hit right here. We need a plug to undo the thing. This has to be capable. Of course you would do that. That's the number one thing you would do. You would never build the system to defeat you like that. So the farthest thing from us is like, oh, they're gonna take over, then this is AI robots and we're gonna be in Westworld or whatever. Maybe we're already in that, who knows? But as we see the advancement forward of tools, technology, and artificial intelligence, and what we call robotics and things, it only frees up our time. Money doesn't exist, so all we're doing is we're trading in what's doing the job. It's called leveraging. If we can leverage our energy, you know what a fulcrum is? If we can leverage something, we can get more work done. We can get a bigger, greater thing done. We can be more precise with how we handle things. I don't care how nice you are with your hands. A robotic arm's going to be able. It'll make a straighter line. It will make a more perfect circle. There's no way around it. So like all of these, like all of the mundane tasks that through the years, what did we do? We were doing a task and then we said, what? How would this be easier? You want to go back to doing your caveman routine? You're going to eventually go, how would I cut this tree down? You have to figure that out. You would have to make yourself a tool. And then as we made tools of higher and higher value, we would call those tools types of technologies. And we like, at what point do we say that's the bad one? Don't use it. And it's just frustrating trying to explain this to so many people. Like, where do you think this goes wrong? Like when you listen to people with ill intentions, oh yeah, we need to have stop losses for those humans or those people trying to, you know, I get what all the slippery slopes are, but I don't think anyone's really. No, you hear all these people say wake up and all this, and can't you see what's going on? Like, yeah, of course we can see, but what are you going to do about it? This is the dilemma again and again. What is anyone doing about it? What are we doing to combat it? Who's going to go? Oh no, I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna pay this. I'm not gonna be enslaved by this. There's a certain number of people in certain situations that they bob and weave the whole thing, but as a totality, people hate the idea of communism, but you all want to come together and become a society, a culture, a community. The word community. You want to be a community and hold this, but you don't want to be a community in other ways. It's a little weird, don't you see? So how does everybody expect to come together to we need to have I want to continue doing my stupid job that I hate, and I want to have paper money. Do you? What kind of system is that going to look like? What do you want your paper money to have inflation, interest, and income tax involved in it? Of course you don't. See, no one's ever changed those systems. So, it's as if when people say, "Hey, don't you understand? Don't you see they're going to take all our jobs and they're turning everything into digital, this and that." Take the jobs. Who wants to do them anyways? I can't stress that part of this whole thing enough. Like I've probably done 10 hours at least of talking on this exact subject. I need someone to explain to me what jobs that do you want? What do you want to do? It involves you going to a 10-hour work, a 10-hour workday, 8 to 10 hour workday, driving to work, uh, sitting at a desk. Who wants to be doing anything? What jobs will not? What jobs couldn't be done more efficiently that you don't want to do anyways? I don't know. I don't know too many people that like to go to their job. But where's this work that needs to be done? So people just hang on like, no, I want to do that. Okay, well, work in the fields with the robots then. I don't think anybody would say no to that. You talk to the boss man like, hey, I want to go work in the fields with the robots doing the thing. Boss is like, hey, don't worry, there's already food. You could go dance, you could go take care of your family, you could whatever you want. No, 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 I want to go work in the field. You could, did you need some help with something? How's your back? Oh, you need to get that working. Okay, I see. And everybody like who and where and what are these jobs? We already know that we start with the basic ones. School teachers. Oh, come on. You can't don't kid yourself. Look up any school system. It's all based upon a Prussian school model of um, architecting a society that has people that are cogs in the wheel of the system. And maybe, just maybe, that right now it might be undoing that because they see the usefulness in the human condition as the creative mind doing something else and not doing things that you know might damage the human condition, the human itself. But nobody likes that part. I'm not fancifully saying that tools, technology, robots, all this haven't caused some chaos, but we're the ones that program them, so they're only a reflection of us. What's up, love, Katesh? What are you doing? Well, yeah, I mean, there you go, Katesh. There's the huge downfall. That's definitely the huge downfall. What do we do? We're just gonna plug into the TV. But again, let's consider most people right now. How far are they removed from their television to begin with? How far are they removed from their computer to begin with? If they want to go do that, go do that. I don't see the problem there. You, that person was gonna that person was gonna be out here in society doing all this for 72 years, living and dying, and maybe causing havoc out there. And they say, well, they would rather be beelined right to that thing. Let them. Doesn't that solve a lot of problems too? Who cares? How many people right now don't even leave their house anymore? That's that lucid. Yeah, how many people now? I mean, granted, how it occurred, mad bullshit, a lot of other things going on that I obviously don't agree with. We've talked about plenty. But how many people don't even like to leave their house? How many people enjoy putting the mask on? How many people want to be in the computer system? A little bit removed from whatever reality is. That have a little buffer because they don't like feral dogs. They don't like wild animals. They don't like ducks. They're scared of geese. You know what I mean? Like they don't. That's not for them. They don't want to get on the train ride. They don't want to. They don't want to explore. They are happy in their thing. Why stop that? I don't see that. If we just unhooked everyone else and said, hey, go outside and play, it would be that would be the most chaotic thing because most people don't know how to play. Most people aren't they're not they can't walk. They're not in physical shape for this. They don't even know where to go, what to do, what to eat. They don't like playing games. They don't like sports. They don't know how to dance. Everything would be confusing for them out there. Let them continue looking at the TV. And shit, as much as I am outside, I'm on here quite a fucking bit. I mean, would I be good without this? Yeah, but would I like it as much? No. I like to be this far removed. I can once in a while do this. Because who's taking away the fact that I can talk to all of you and you can talk to me. you could find out how to communicate with me, even though I live hundreds and thousands of miles away from some of you, and you could communicate with me anytime you wanted. And that goes for just about everybody. You're not too far removed from talking to anybody with a really powerful, popular show that you could participate in, and maybe you have a good idea, and that helps, gets implemented in reality. Well, you couldn't do this 30 years ago. Not a possibility. But we go, this is good enough. That's far enough with the computers. As everyone on here has a phone, technology, computer that they use pretty much every day of their life. And a lot of you got channels. So when people have the channels, but then they're all anti-internet, get off the grid, go get off the grid. And I'm like, you've missed so many major points. You didn't build your cabin without power tools. You didn't there's things on your roof there. It's collecting all the sun thing. Do you know where that stuff came from? Do you know how those are made? Do you know how many tools and technology? You're not off the grid. And when those things break, if they break because of bad weather, if they break because they'll fail eventually. How many years do you get out of them? I'm not sure, 15, 20 years. Then what? How off the grid are you? You're not gonna like that. And how off the grid would you like to be, in the sense that you want to be cooking with wood? I thought we were trying to get away from that. We're gonna stop chopping trees down. Go to the store. The problem with paper bags is we're killing all the trees. The problem with plastic bags is, we're filling up the landfills and there's chemicals in the air. So no matter what you do, you got a problem, right? People like picking. What's up, Christopher Lee? People like picking and choosing their problems based upon their own presumptions and contemptuousness towards things that they're not very, very fully aware of. So is there no middle ground between nature and I disagree. I think there is. I think there's a huge possibility for that. I say go watch the movie Ready Player One. I mean, they gave it like when they get to the end of it, the idea was, okay, well, you get 5 days that you're out here in nature, and you're planting a garden and you're with your neighbors. 2 days, I don't know, maybe it was 4 days and 3 days, I don't know. That you could go you can immerse yourself in this thing. I mean, that's their solution in it. Seems like a reasonable one. But I think having something like that in place, like most people would want to be involved with a reality if they know what it was. The joy that you get out of learning something, about playing a sport, about petting a fucking puppy, about playing with humans, about making actual love, like that is so far heightened, and the experience of that way better than that. But some people, they learn through this thing, as long as they can. There's an actual tangible. You have the whole thing. You're already. Look at that. I think there already is. I think just people, they find themselves stuck into one or the other. People are like, this thing is no good. I see the problem with it. And they just go, we got to go green, even though they're still using they're going to go off the grid, even though they're using a car that requires, those rubber tires. Do you remember where those came from? Or those rims made of metal, or that engine, that catalytic converter, that gasoline, that whole process. You're not off the grid. You don't play like you are. But people, there's that part of society that wants to go so far into that they're missing all of this that gives you cool stuff. You can't say you don't like having a refrigerator and running water and a hot shower and all this. You can't say you don't like that. And all of the ease. I just pushed some buttons on my phone, and I hadn't eaten in days. I like fasting. Don't get me wrong on the subject here. I was doing it. I did it, but I was super hungry. I was like, I need to eat. And I just was like, boop, 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 boop. All of a sudden, right in my door shows up all of these goodies. Like Christmas. Isn't that nice? technology somehow, somebody over here says, here, I got you something today. All of a sudden, come to my door, here's a gift. Whoa, that would have never happened any other time in like prior to this, right? They could, how would they would even have known me. So when we look over the landscape of all of the old architecture, that's all inside. That's all technology. Even if we look at the old world technology and these giant buildings and all of this, it's still technology. It's still a tool to use. And it's not too much different than a house. I mean, is a house the way it's constructed, crafted of high technology and good craftsmanship? No, but it does have its place. So yeah, I think the middle ground is, with the right human teachers, you can kind of lead people to a way to design their life around using technology sometimes and interacting with humans other times. I don't know. Maybe just because that's kind of how I do most of my days. Some days I'll be on here for 10 hours. Other days I won't touch the fucking thing for 3 days. Other days I want to go listen to music by the river. Other days I put the shit down and there's people out here with acoustic instruments and I don't even look at my phone. Some days I want to be near a fire and having hot chocolate. Other days I don't. I want to be inside. I want to watch I want to watch a movie on Netflix. It's weird. Sometimes you get tired of people. Like I don't feel like interacting with humans today. Other times it's like you just crave a human attention or just an actual living being. It's like, oh, I'm tired of this. Like, you're out in a cabin, you get cabin fever. You play on technology, you get burnout on this. You deal with humans all day, that's emotionally put you in a basket case. So I don't know. I think there's surely some sort of balance, but it's not like it's not like you're just going to stop whatever's happening with technology. We can alter it and morph it and control it and put it to use for us and for our benefit. As well, you said, is there, the middle ground between nature and so artificial and natural? And anything that comes from a human is by proxy, by the idea that we're doing it. If we're part of nature and we're doing it, then I don't care how artificial or not natural that is. We kind of did that, right? We used some chemistry, some alchemy, some magic, some whatever to do it. So there it is. Katesh, everyone has different temperaments. You draw a line at AI augmenting the body. I agree with that. I agree with that. I would have my hard line, hard pass on AI technological augmentation of the body. Here's the only gray area on that one is like some people have like major league problems and dilemmas. They got a hand with one finger, and if we can fix that and grow them some fingers and do this, then cool. And if somebody's got like their eyeballs sticking out the side of their head, and if we can go through and like put that back into place, or I think there's always outlying situations where that might be not that bad of an idea, but using it to when you watch all the movies about the advancement and augmentation of the human condition into say the West world or the altered carbon type of reality. Art, yeah, art of fish oil. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason really to because here's the thing is if we break a bone, we should be able to assist the human body in doing what it was going to do anyways. I don't think there's too many times where like, okay, if someone breaks something really bad and you need to put titanium in their leg so they can walk, don't really have a problem with that. I don't see the problem. But now if we get to the point where we're like, well, might as well make this person a superhuman 10 foot taller, and that becomes, I think, well beyond the gray area. I think that's just like Humans like, slow down, settle down. It's ridiculous. And I don't think there really is. And I've heard from plenty of people on this subject of artificial intelligence that we're not really dealing with artificial intelligence in the way that it's deemed. And this is from some people, some computer science geeks, who say there's no real artificial intelligence right now. we're dealing with something completely subpar to that. There's not going to, like, the idea of installing a human consciousness in that. Well, then it's human consciousness. It's not the bot itself that has come alive, but the 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 instilling of perhaps as just human memory. Maybe it's not the person's consciousness. Like, for instance, like right now you have an imagination and a consciousness and awareness that you're thinking, and you can think of thinking. That you could come up with something creative, where if you were to take your memory system and install that into a robot or something else, it will look and sound and act like you, but that's just a reproduction that couldn't do anything future creative, because it'd be an NPC. There'd be no thoughts behind anything. It was just like, I'm going off of memory systems, and it doesn't appear that we can create anything that has a next step of future awareness and creative thinking that is all based on memory systems. Do I think gray aliens are really transhuman from an altered advanced timeline? Perhaps. I've never met one. I mean, I've met some people that I don't believe for 1 second they were of the same species as everyone else, nor do I think the same species as me. I don't necessarily think. I mean, I guess I'm human enough, but not quite. So I don't know. Maybe I've met a gray alien. I don't know. Transhuman. I mean, the idea that, to give you the biggest answer would be, your boy. Oh, what the hell's his name? Hold on a second. I was just thinking about him earlier today too. Why am I tripping his name? Indian dude, really big channel. He was on. He's been on a couple TV shows, but he has his own channel. Um, Praveen Mohan. Is that right? Praveen Mohan. Anyways, so he gives this example of ancient Indian technology, and he talked about, I believe it was Shiva and Shakti and these other beings, and he's saying that they weren't just allegory; those were actual beings, but they were the transhumans. Basically, he didn't use transhumans; he used more like, he used this idea where when they would move something from a building to a building as a ritual, like once a year or something. When he's saying the ritual happens not because they're doing it out of some respect for dates, they're doing it because they can't leave the what was the heart of one of these robots in this building, because of what's in it and what's made of. So they had to put it into a different temple, because the temple was containing the energy, and it used to be part of this, being that was living for thousands and thousands of years, but they were living for thousands of years as a robotic thing with say a human consciousness that had lived so long that we can somehow connect. He didn't say this part. I'm connecting this part. Robot vampires. Like, what is the real difference between a robot that has human consciousness and a vampire that supposedly is immortal to a degree? And here, there's only one way you can kill it. There's only a few ways, and even if you kill a vampire, there's all sorts of ways that you can bring it back to life. You could kill a car. You could bring that car back to life. So that's kind of the larger thing. I think there's there's the ability for people that are say live longer. Like if you live to 1,000 years and everybody else lived to 70, your what's up, Parcel? Your intention and your awareness of what your life is would be wildly different. There would be a reason for you to want to be a millionaire. If you know you're done after 70 years and everybody else is, there's no desire. Why would there desire be there? What are you going to win? Now, if you know that go watch Altered Carbon. This is the same thing. Re-sleeving people. If it's whether it's re-sleeving or getting something new done to your body to keep you alive and to say, okay, you're alive indefinitely. The only way you can kill you is these couple ways. So you avoid that. You become rich. You surround yourself with things that protect you. And one set of awareness would become the awareness. Okay, we need to. I like life and it's fun. And hey, maybe I got some spare parts on me, but these people we can help. These poor people, these whatever people, we can assist humanity in this way. The other thing that could happen, which seems to have happened, is people become like they go, oh, I'm a god. I'm here as long as I want to be. I have unlimited money. I can do just about anything I want at any point in time. Untouchable, immortal. And where does their consciousness go? That power trip, that being different and being a god on this realm, it would change people's level of empathy. They would disconnect themselves with what it takes to be. Do you remember how Thor and um, Loki would have this thing, and others did too. They would have this thing like we're the immortals. Those are flies in our timeline. We have to be here to do this. We have these things that we do are archonic. And so they disconnect from the empathy of being human. So to answer your question, are grays, I've never met one per se, but could they be transhumans from an altered advanced time? It doesn't even have to be an altered timeline. It could be a direct timeline back to 300 years ago. And in reality, those ancient buildings and things, those could have been taken over by the wrong types, and then another advanced species was like, "No, we have to blow that system up because they're destroying everything." Yeah. This sounds about right. What's that, Divine? The lore is that Greys lost the ability to procreate due to merging genetic modification, leading to erasing femininity, so they came here to try to splice DNA back. Sounds like it fits into every actual narrative that's going on right now, huh? You can see how, like, if they can't reproduce, then their offsprings wouldn't even be really theirs. So they wouldn't. There'd be less of a connection to the next generation. That makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah, so the merging and genetic modifications will erase. Well, yeah, you could erase either one. You could erase. I mean, isn't that the movie? Children of Men, where some crazy stuff happens, and all of a sudden, there's kind of the rich people left, and then everybody else is chaos, and and where everyone realizes there's no babies being born, and there's one woman who makes a baby, and she's like, oh, like that would be, and they can't let anybody know, and so there's a whole thing about that. But that makes sense. I mean, considering what we do is we create a problem with certain pharmaceuticals and technologies. We create certain kinds of problems and we try to fix it with more technology and more pharmaceuticals, which will never work. Mm-hmm. Uh, let's see. talks about gray aliens being transhumans who felt that would make sense. But I mean, again, even within that, even if there are gray aliens, I don't think you can't. It's just like you can't say the draconians are all good or all bad. You can't say the grays are all good or all bad. That I think that some of them maintain memory and maintain compassion or empathy for whatever the human condition is. Fleur Braun. I watched some of her stuff. I really couldn't get into it. Fleur Braun. Yeah, I don't know. I'll check it out again. I know who you're talking about. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't when I should have been listening to it, but I was just like, I didn't, wasn't resonating with what she was saying. But that was, I think I probably watched her channel like 3 years ago. Hey, who knows? It could have been the wrong videos. Could have been the wrong timeline for me. I don't know. Hmm. And then, you know what? There is some people's channels that I like, but I can't really. It's not where I'm supposed to be, and they talk too much about spirituality and too much about uh astrology and all of those things. I'm just like, I get all of those things, I understand them, but that is not, you can't take that and give it to those people. They're not going to understand it. You can't teach them. You have to teach people through uh analogy. You can't directly tell someone something because they won't get it. It's nice to do it. Sometimes, but most of the time, how many people believe in astrology? How many people believe in tarot? Nobody. It's a very small number of us that know that it's true. And then everybody out here, sometimes I be talking to these people and they're on this love and light nonsense. They're on this, this highfalutin spirituality shit. When they're talking to people, I'm like, no one understands you. You have to make it digestible for those people. They don't like you. They don't like, you see all the things and all that. Yeah, I get you. I know. But they can't. You're speaking to them in Chinese, and they speak fucking French. I don't know. Savan. I haven't listened to much of Savan lately. I haven't listened to him in years, really. I mean, every once in a while I'll tune in. He talks about AI, God essentially being a great alien. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, no, no, no. Don't worry about the. Yeah, don't worry about the typos. I'm figuring it out here. Hmm. But I think that's the biggest thing about trying to bring the knowledge down the ladder to the people. They're so far from understanding it. There's so many channels that have really good information. I'm like, you need bridge channels for what they're saying, because Joe garbage can tuna over here, for me to explain something to him, I'm gonna have to explain it to him through what a V8 in an engine looks like, not through high spirituality of like, well, your your yellow chakra or your Muladhara chakra is connected to that engine like this, and here's and oh, that makes sense. Where they're just like on like some, it's too many people on this, like they put the they read a couple books on chakras and crystals, and they're just like putting that shit out. Who are you talking to? You're talking to people that like crystals and like fancy colors and like to say something like chakra and think they're sitting in meditation. Oh my God. Um, Thank you,
You're
Junie.
welcome.
Oh man. Oh, did you see what I got? So
Yeah.
apparently, So apparently in New Orleans right now, there is a shortage of
Oh,
PBR. There's no PBR in New Orleans.
oh man.
Crazy, right? I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. I love High Life. Either way, I'm happy. I'm happy as a clown.
Oh,
Because the guy gets the door, he goes, "Hey man, sorry, all we had was High Life. We didn't have," and he's like, "There's a huge shortage of it in New Orleans right now." I was like, "I've never heard of such a thing. We're never short of beer here. That's holiday time. We short on PBR. That's." I was like, "Well, maybe I drank it all. I don't know, because that's." Yeah, that's funny. I want to go out today and see what's up with that, because there's a store I go to, and I noticed that their prices of beer fluctuate quite a bit. Uh, and I'd seen the price of PBR and Coors go up the other day quite a bit. And it's a store that I go to every day. Well, not every day, but enough to make a mental note of how much these beers are. And so now I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go see what's up. We're not getting our PBR now. I might have to. I'm changing what I'm doing. I'm selling all my noodles. I'm trading shit in. I'm stocking up on beer, man.
you'd be like a reseller.
Oh, I know, I know. I'm just gonna rent this place out, and just I'm filling the whole fucking place up with beer, and I'll just be hustling that beer out here.
Anyway, enjoy. I'm hauling off of this. I'm fixing to drive, so I gotta have my faculties.
Okay, well, and thank you,
You're
and thanks for the other stuff too. I'll enjoy that later.
Oh, you're welcome. Take care, bro.
Yeah, toodles. Divine. Well, how about those long-winded bullshit channels like me? Yeah, when I finish all the beer in New Orleans. Well, here's the thing: if the beer ever isn't in New Orleans, then I guarantee it's not going to be anywhere else. I've never looked up the statistics on it, but I got to assume, like, other than major cities with more people, like, I don't know. I mean, there's drunker cities, but they're small. They're like, I think there's like five of the top 10 drunkest, like, per capita, how much do people consume alcohol? I think it's like in like maybe Minnesota or North Dakota or somewhere up there next to that, because it's so cold and there's nothing else to do. And I'm like looking, like, everywhere that I'm thinking of that is without exception party place. And now New Orleans was on the map, but I'm assuming that anywhere with a similar number of people, especially being like, especially being a port town and a destination city, if we're out of beer, everywhere's out of beer. And especially considering the being on the port, like, if we, like, if in the whole thing, the port authority over here, they were they were advised that, like, um beer coming in, there wasn't any beer up there, and it would all be coming down here anyways, down the Mississippi. And anything coming in, we'd probably just stop that and be like, well, we'll just leave that here. We'll just go ahead and leave that in here. Yeah, I know, not I know, but come on, if I'm not kind of long-winded sometimes, it's more fun that way. You can't just get to the point. I mean, I can't, if I'm talking to somebody who needs to get to the point, like, we'll get to the point. But sometimes it's too easy. That's the thing, is if you directly tell someone, it's too easy. They're like, well, why would you think that? Well, let me explain. I'm trying to think where else, where are the most, this is my research for the day. Where are the most breweries? But then you're gonna have to go take into account, where's all the grain coming from? Is it local grain? Breweries, the size of the breweries? And what about times of the year that they're, planting, and, these go, this is a big, hmm. I'm trying to think, with farmland and everything, I wonder what that, what would it take to certain cities to have not enough alcohol? And if the city didn't have alcohol, like would what else would go along with that people wouldn't be traveling anyways? So then we'd probably have an overstock of alcohol. You'd think like places like Miami, destination places, they would have an overstock of alcohol eventually, right? But then again, at least there's things growing here. I don't think there's wheat and shit for breweries down in Florida. That's my research for the day. At least I have facts. I've never had an opinion once in my life. If you think my opinion sucks, I think you suck. How about that? Ah, there you go, Katesh. That's another thing too. Yeah, but I think the major thing about the brewing your own beer is like what would be the catastrophic things that would occur in the supply chain and the farming industries that would hinder whether or not even people could brew at their home. And what would be and where like okay, brewing beer is a whole different thing than making sake, than making rice wine, than making wine. So wine would be way down the like wine would be done quickly. Wine would be like, but alcohol because it can just because you can when you distill the spirits, it's more and you need less time. Beer takes a while. Beer is a process unto itself, and you need it just to make liquor. You just need fermentables. It doesn't matter what the fuck it is. If there's sugar in there and carbohydrates and whatever, throw that shit in there, and you can make alcohol. Where beer, that's a longer fermentation. Yeah, Budweiser. Yeah, well, Budweiser. Don't we don't we something like um, export more Budweiser to places like Japan and China and shit? Because I hear there's other places that really like Budweiser. I don't know if Germany loves Budweiser. Like places that you go, why do they like Budweiser? Because here it's kind of just like, oh, we drink Budweiser and most people shit on it. Another place like, oh, this is an American beer. Oh, it's fancy. Well, ghetto wine. What is like some what's the name of that shit? Boone's Farm? What do you call it? You call it yeah, love Katesh Farms. Yeah, that's another. Well, actually, you can. Wine doesn't take that long if you already have grape juice. But again, the grape. See the whole. Yeah, they sell a couple kits that as long as you get the right kind of yeast, people are making. They take the juicy juice boxes and make wine out of it. But then, so there's that too of how many distilleries versus how many. So a brewery and a distillery, right? To make your own beer, you're not required to have that much equipment. Making your own liquor, you got to at least know how to pot and still and all this shit. You got to know a little bit. Oh, but I mean they're still doing it from scratch though, huh? Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean there is stuff you can get now that is just basically like I mean with anything really, it's easy enough to produce alcohol. Most people are just unaware of how to do it. All you really need is fermentables and little yeasties to eat that shit up. And then I mean for wine, the only difference with wine is aging it so it tastes like it's fancy. If it's just like getting drunk, ghetto ass shit, doesn't take that long. I don't know how. I think wine takes under a week. think beer you need, depending on what it is, 3 weeks to 2 months. Making alcohol shouldn't take you that long. I don't remember how long it takes exactly. Maybe 3 days. Hmm. So yeah, I'm gonna have to stock up on this high quality shit right here. No, I would stock up on. Hey, if it's the end of the world event, I've told people this before. Here you go. You'd be smart to stock up on vodka because it's your well, especially what's that what's that shit called? Everclear. Cost wise, for how much space it takes up for carrying it around and trading it, bartering it, whatever, you can do the most with it. Stock up on chocolate, marijuana, tobacco, beer, sugar. And somebody else has added something to this list the other day. Yeah, salt too. Sugar, salt, liquor, chocolate, coffee. Coffee, yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. All of the standard kind of addictions that people have. Some people need their motherfucking coffee, dog. Some people need their so even a regular beer drunk, if they're still a drunk, they'll accept vodka. Yeah, but people that I know that are actually like alcoholics out here, like they drink fifths of like whatever the fuck, but they don't like beer. I can't even hand these motherfuckers beers. They're like, nope. They want the straight vodka. They want the they're like that beer shit puts me to sleep. I'm like, how the fuck? They're just sitting there. Oh man, I can't tell you how many times like during the middle of the day it'd be all hot outside, and I wouldn't be thinking about it because I'm just hanging out with these people, and like, oh, you want to hit this? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. That's some, whatever. It's all granddad. It's a shitty cheap vodka, and it's like 90 degrees out, and this has been in their pocket all day. Hot. And I've been drinking warm beers. It's no go mix, and they're sitting there just drinking like it's fucking water. I'm like, yo, I don't know how you do it. You accidentally ran into the Appalachian sipping cream. Mmm. Fine. But was it good? That sounds really awesome. A little sipping cream. And too, coffee and coffee liqueur. You get a little bit of the caffeine. So that's a good time right there. And then there's like port wines and mm, I think I'm gonna move down. I think I moved down to the swamps to become a bootlegger or some shit. Might as well. Swamping it up, dog. There was a couple really great shows on. It was probably on TLC or maybe the Food Network or something. And one of them, it was. I don't know where all of the show was, but I remember a good portion of it was actually in the swamps of Louisiana and out till a little bit of Texas. And it was about all these guys that were like, you know, they were real deal, like old school. They'd be showing you how they're doing this and making this alcohol, and like they're literally like out in the woods and they have this old pot still. And they got this, and they're like, sometimes, hey, what are we gonna do today? Like, I know across town where we can get these prickly pears, and they start making this stuff that is like, you know, apparently pretty decent stuff, and that's like it's like whole series on it. It's called. Anybody see this? I forget what the hell the name of it was called. It's probably called Bootleggers or something. Is that even the right word? Bootleggers? It's like that's when you copy a CD. Does that have to do with the alcohol? No. Yeah, I hear you. You don't drink, but you could stay drunk for a couple of years. Mhm. Well, in the proper weather, in cold weather, oh, there's nothing better than sitting around a fire with a big blanket on, sipping on whatever your cocktail choice is, some whiskey, some port, some creamy, delicious. Oh, like hot chocolate and vodka or something. Yeah, that's the move. Smoky Mountains, White Lightning stills. Hmm. Yeah, people say White Lightning. It's like it's like where have I had stuff that was like it was different. Like everybody knows 40 proof, 80 proof, and everybody knows some things can be a little like, nah, this shit hit different. It was a whole different ball game. When I was in Indiana, Illinois, in the mountains, yeah, they used to make their own alcohol out there. Strawberry and peaches in there, but the white lightning. Yeah, I don't, the trade in of like the trade in of being there now, doing, I mean, it'd be fun being warm and having, if you had to supply for the winter, you got all that, and you build yourself a fire, you already chopped up the wood, just relaxing, versus it's 77 degrees right now and it's almost Christmas. Yeah. Well, well, well. Yeah, you're saying you have all sorts of history to your place. You should do a short video, man. You should do a walk around your house, like picture time or something. I would love to see your old tavern. There's a couple shows that I really like on the internet that are all about like tavern life. One is just this really interesting Chinese dude. It's called, oh, I don't know. It's his name and something tavern, and let me find his name. He's got like a million followers and stuff. Really cute dude, and he goes through all of these recipes and tell these stories. And I don't know if it's actually a tavern or his little spot in the universe, and he dresses to the nines every time. There's a couple shows like that. There's another one where a guy owns a whole property, and he does multiple shows, and he lives his life like this, and he's like, hey, here's what we're doing, here's how people used to dress, here's how they're doing it, and he's like, here's how they made the fireplaces, and here's how they old school this, and he's going through like old books, and he's like, this is the recipes and here's how they made it. And yeah, that I forget his name too, but pretty cool channels, finding old tavern videos or what people used to do in the late 1800s or whatever. Well, speaking of drinking in taverns, this is show number 3 for the day. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna go out and find myself a tavern in which to crush a couple of these things and find some good music and be outside and get some fresh air because it is a little hot in here right now. I'll turn this little AC on. Good to see everybody. You guys know the rules. One, be yourself. Be weird. Take care of others. If you can take care of me, that's great. And one way you can do it is Cash App and PayPal and Venmo. Help a brother out. Um, but it's good to talk to everybody. It's good to see everybody. And if you were bored, I did 2 shows earlier today. which I thought were pretty okay. And I'll see if I can't find, maybe do a fourth show later today. We'll see. Yeah, what up, Gary? You just got here as I'm leaving. Yeah, peace out, everybody. Enjoy your day, evening, whatever. It's like 2 o'clock. Yeah. Let me go and put myself in order. Is this right? I think this will be fine for public. Gary, Divine, love, everybody, peace out. I'll try to see you guys later. Toodles.